Hello YouTube, this is Joey again. My voice might be a little bit weird because I have been sick for the last, definitely the last 2 days. But anyway, today I wanted to cover something that a lot of people struggle with, which is going second with stun. And I got some replays here. I'm gonna try and do this uncut again. I know you guys like this footage a lot. I also like making this content a lot because I can actually teach you guys how to do this and talk about my thought process. So we are looking at analyse, setting up a board. We have nothing to interrupt them while we do impulse this red ransom being summoned, but my opponent suddenly just has a handful of bestials, so there was no stopping this freight train. And he just goes on into the white binder, goes do his things. We just wait, there's nothing we can do, we just have to wait for this whole combo to be over. And now what I want to cover mostly, we go second and with stun. You have to really think about what does my opponent have and what is going to happen. So, for example, what does he have? He can negate monster effects, doesn't affect us, no problem at all. Now, the Firewall Dragon is not placed under the Appaloosa. So the effect to spin back a monster is not active. So what is the first thing he wants to do? He wants to use the trap to bring back the white binder, to banish all the analyse monsters, to summon all of them, which we do not want. So the first thing we need to do is see if we can block that, and we do that very simple with a barrier statue. Now the second thing we need to do is try and get some damage out, because we need to get rid of the Appaloosa. So we play Clockwork Knight, we are now bigger than the Appaloosa, we take it out, we have great back row here to recover. Crackdown, if he decides to attack us, we have Solemn Judgment in case there was a Malice in the mirror, which there was not. So this was a pretty easy win. That's how you peel the board. Now this next one is a little bit more complicated, and you don't see it a lot anymore, but it's against Snake Eye Fiendsmith. And Snake Eye Fiendsmith, there's a lot of different engines and there's a lot of things going on as you start interrupting. Now I do have a card that is super important against Snake Eye Fiendsmith, and that's Necro Valley. So Snake Eye Fiendsmith, you have to understand, they do recycle a lot of stuff from the graveyard. Obviously the Fiendsmith engine on its own, it keeps recycling from the graveyard anyway. They do have this little glitch when shuffling back cards as a cost, works around Necro Valley. But besides that, also if the Flame Burst goes into the graveyard, a lot of baby monsters come back. It just goes on and on and on. There will be Promethean Princess in the graveyard that goes in and out all the time. So we have no interruption at all. We have to wait for this full combo. We do have Sphere in hand, and we will draw into a Super Poly. So all we need to do is analyze how can we get Necro Valley on the field safely. That will be the priority. If we can get that on the field, our opponent cannot play. That's all you need to do with stun. Make sure your opponent cannot play. So we're still waiting for this combo line. He will now waste a Nightmare Phoenix to grab an Ash. And I say waste because Nightmare Phoenix is one of the outs against stun. Obviously he doesn't know I'm playing that, but anyway, he also decides, which is interesting, to put Ryo in my back row and not the, IP Masquerina in his own. So that takes care of a disruption. There is multiple things we can do here. We can set a monster face down. Oh wait, let's draw that Super Poly first. We can set a monster face down and then try to Super Poly into, wrong deck, into Speculation, which, if it would be summoned in defense, cannot be destroyed. So even if the Promethean would come out, it would just sit there and it could block. Another thing, if I would play Rex Tremende, which I don't, I could have super polyed these two off, which would still summon the Promethean and probably destroy my Rex Tremende. Also, before the Flame Burst goes to the graveyard, I would pretty much like to have Necro Valley out, but that's going to be a hard thing. So what I decide to do is super poly off these three first into Almarduke, which will bring back the Promethean, so he has 3 bodies on the field, so I can sphere the bodies. Now, he does things a little bit different because everything starts going now. He decides to steal my Ryo. He also brings back, what is it, the Diabell Star. So lots of bodies on the field. Now, priority now is I need to make sure. Oh, he also popped his own Flame Burst, so he took care of that problem for us, and he does not summon a monster back. Now, I need this off the field, or it will bring my Necro Valley to the graveyard. So now we can safely sphere. Now he can send something to the graveyard. He decides to send my egg. And now we Necro Valley. And now we set Clockwork Knight. Which means we are now pretty much safe, because these, if you trap them, Snake Eye Fiendsmith is like, if one bullet, and once everything is in the graveyard, that's pretty much it. Now he tries to go into a Moon of the Closed Heaven. I will fast forward, which will not work because it's a machine. We draw another Super Poly. It's dead because I have no fodder card, but I'll set it to build some pressure. Now he attacks. He goes into SP Little Knight, but we have Solemn Strike to get rid of that. He also used his Nightmare Phoenix, so there is no way for him to get Necro Valley off the field now. We have Morganite, so I'm drawing 2 every turn. I'm super confident now. I know there will be no out for him here. So it's just waiting for me to draw into a monster so I can start attacking. He Lancias, like I was going to banish anything. Now I get a statue here. I can set the statue. I can make it a bigger statue, but my opponent scoops. So here, I hope this didn't go too fast. But you could really see how I took the time to see what he had, what was a threat to me, or what will happen if I start to move pieces on the board. And if you can read that, you're pretty much golden. Now this next one, this will be the last clip. This is also against Malice. Going into the Millennium Engine. This is actually something really funny happens here. So it's funny to show you guys, but it's not what the clip is about. So he goes into Zombie Vampire, which is broken and should be banned. Now he mills 4 of each deck. He mills no monsters, and I mill a statue and a Dyna. So he has to pick my Dyna or the statue, and he blocked himself out of special summoning. And he has to tribute summon, waste his normal summon to get rid of Dyna again. So that was funny. But the thing is here, we are now in a situation where my opponent has monsters that we cannot defeat, which is a problem, a stun, because we have small monsters, and it will, once it gets through the barrier, then we're pretty much screwed. So what do? I grab that Necro Valley because I want floodgates. I want to make sure whatever is in the graveyard doesn't come out. And I decide to do nothing. I set all my cards. So my thinking here is, if he does Zombie Vampire again, which he will not, because he cannot grab the monsters out of the graveyard, I could strike that, but I could also crack down a Zombie Vampire. Then I have a big monster. I'm just curious to see what he does, and he decides to just go into his Malice place, which actually solves all my problems here, because he now has 3 dark monsters, and I can fuse them off into the Spreader Plant, which I will not even try to pronounce. And from here, I'm pretty much golden. So yeah, he goes into more of these plays, but he cannot bring monsters from the graveyard. Whatever is in there is stuck. So he's going to link them off. And I use my Predator Plant here to negate this summon. I could have used Strike, so he cannot use the trap with a Malice Link monster on the field. But it doesn't matter anyway, because it's going to try and grab a monster that is banished or in the graveyard, but there is none banished, so he has to grab it from the graveyard, which you can't because there's Necro Valley, and then this will be destroyed, or no, the summon will be negated. Important difference. This will be in the graveyard, it can come out. So he is defeated. So I hope this helps. Again, try and read what is going to happen and how can I avoid it. That is most important. Hope you guys like this clip. See you guys next time.